Hey, this is C&D channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my predictions for Bellator 104, Hawn versus Weedman, which happens on October 18th. I was actually out of town, that's why I couldn't do a couple shows recently, but I am back. Overall, this card is just alright to me. I mean, you do got the welterweight tournament semifinals. I mean, the prelims got Amasu, Paul Sass, which is kind of cool. You got Grove versus Vedepo. I don't know what that's doing there on the main card. Got some heavyweights on the wrong side of 30 on the card. At least we'll probably see get someone knocked out. Otherwise, yeah, I can't really say great things about this card. Could be fun. Usually Bellator cards just tend to turn out that way. Okay, let's get started. Hawn rematches Brent Weedman. Now, Hawn at lightweight beat Weedman by unanimous decision back in May 2012. Hawn has a 16-2 record, 10 wins by KO or TKO, 6 wins by decision. He's 37 years old on a 2-fight win streak, training at a TriStar. It's Olympic level judo, and his boxing is pretty solid. He's a guy that always uses straight punches. With Brent Weedman, 22-8 record with 1 draw, 10 wins by KO or TKO, 9 wins by sub. He's 29 years old on a 2-fight win streak. Solid kickboxer, but he can get kind of reckless at times. His grappling, definitely underrated, and his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is actually pretty solid as well. This guy did Von Flue chokes. I think he slick arm bar against his last opponent or so, if I'm not mistaken. I think he just got his black belt actually. His ground game is actually pretty solid. I just don't know if Weedman can get Hawn to the ground. And in the stand-up, I can't help but think this won't be a repeat of their first fight. I got to go with Hawn to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, we have Keslar versus War Machine. Keslar has a 10-3 record with 1 TKO and 4 subs. He's on a 5-fight win streak, training out of AKA. He's a good wrestler. His fight against Luis Melo, he should good back control. Well, War Machine, 14-4 record, 8 wins by KO or TKO, 6 wins by sub. He also has 3 losses by sub. He's 31 years old on a 3-fight win streak. He is a finisher. All of his wins are by finish. Most of it, I think he's only been to decision once in his career. Solid ground and pound, actually. That's actually one of his biggest strengths. I remember that just back in the UFC. It's like Seth Rollins, ground and pound and win against his Blood Anderson. Ground and pounded him, then choked him out. I think that's what happened, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I think the opponent before that, a lot of ground and pound too. That's actually one of his biggest strengths. His kickboxing's solid, and his overall Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is just really improving. His overall grappling is improving. I gotta go with the War Machine here. I say this about him, and I think it's true. Despite his background and his extracurricular activities, he's actually a pretty solid welterweight. He's not a bad fighter by any means. Definitely a solid fighter. I think he beats Keslar. And next fight after that, we have heavyweights as Peter Graham fights Eric Prindle. It's always hard for me to say. I think these guys are going to, quite honestly, the way I see the fight playing out, it's going to be stand-up. Both these guys, most of their losses are by sub. Peter Graham, 8-5 record, 8 wins by KO or TKO, 5 losses by sub. He's never been to decision. All his losses have been finish, or all of his wins and losses are by finish. He's 38 years old on a 7-fight win streak, never been past the second round. Eric Prindle, 8-3 record with 1 no contest, 5 wins by KO or TKO, 1 submission win by strikes, and has 2 losses by sub. He's 37 years old, heavy-handed guy, weak ground game. Presumably, we'll probably see a stand-up battle, and it's whoever's going to fall first. And I've seen what Eric Prindle can do. He's a strong guy, heavy hands. According to Peter Graham's record, seems like the same thing. They're 1 year apart. They're not exactly young spring chickens. Kind of a pick'em fight for me, to be honest with you. I'll go with Graham, but don't know. Prindle is actually the more proven guy. I should probably go with Prindle. I'll go with Graham. I don't know if they're using Graham to build Prindle back up or something, or I don't know what they're doing with this fight, to be honest, or if Graham's just a new heavyweight that tends to be doesn't go to decision, and if they like him, maybe they feed him Prindle. I don't know. I'll just go with Peter Graham to win this one. And finally, Kendall Grove fights Joe Vedepo. Both are UFC veterans. Vedepo, 14-6 record, 5 wins by KO TKO, 7 wins by sub. Also has 3 losses by KO TKO, 2 losses by sub. Training out of ATT. He's trading wins and losses. He actually has a solid ground game. Kendall Grove, I didn't know this. He's only 30 years old. I could have sworn the guy was older. 18-13 record with 1 no contest. It's really fallen off, to be honest. 4 wins by KO TKO, 9 wins by sub, 5 losses by KO TKO, 3 losses by sub. He's 30 years old. The guy's 6'6". He's a tough winner. UFC veteran. Good kickboxer. He actually has some good knees. His jiu-jitsu is actually solid. His chin sucks. His takedown defense, not the best. Despite all that, I think he beats Vedepo. Can't say Vedepo is all that great either, to be honest with you. Don't know why this is on the main card. I think both the I was really impressed with Bellator, 2 weeks ago when they had the middleweight tournament. They went back to getting a bunch of just unknown prospects. You had Joe Pacheco, Brennan Ward, Jason Butcher, Michal Parlo, Perry Filkins, Jeremy Kimball. And it's kind of I'm not saying they're the greatest guys or anything, but it's I'd rather see guys like that at this point than former UFC guys that are honestly just journeyman level at this point. They don't do anything for Bellator, to be perfectly honest with you. I know Kendall Grove's got a name. He was an Ultimate Fighter winner. He's fought into UFC for a while. Otherwise, I can't care too much to see him fight, to be perfectly honest with you. On to the prelims. Carl Amasu fights Paul Bradley. Paul Bradley is a UFC veteran with a 20-5 record with 1 no contest. He's fought 7 wins by KO TKO, 7 wins by sub. He's 30 years old and training out of Alliance. Amasu has a 16-5 record with 2 draws, 4 wins by KO TKO, 9 wins by sub. He actually has 2 losses by KO TKO. Excuse me. He's 27 years old. Good kickboxer. Has a savate and judo background. Strong kicks. Really explosive guy. His Brazilian jiu-jitsu is actually really good. Go for leg locks. Has good back control. His cardio isn't anything to write home about, though. If you get this guy past the first round, he gets in trouble. Despite all that, if Amasu didn't have the weak cardio, you're talking about a guy that probably could, in my opinion, could probably break into the top. This guy looks in the first round, this guy looks elite, After that, he looks like a top 20 to 30 fighter at best. Seriously. If he can somehow keep that, whatever he does in the first round, he'd be great. He'd be awesome. Young guy too, 27. Despite all that, I'll still go with Carl Amasu to get the win here. Okay, next fight after that, Jared Downing fights Rob Emerson. This one is actually hard for me to call. Rob Emerson, UFC vet, 12-10 record with 1 no contest. 4 wins by KO TKO, 2 wins by sub. He's 32 years old, training out of Team Oyama. Jared Downing, 9-3 record, 1 win by KO, 1 win by sub. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. Training out of Hard Drive MMA. He's a good wrestler, always pushing forward. This one's actually hard for me to call because it looks like Emerson's. The funny thing with Emerson, he has like 10 losses and like I think at best 1 loss by KO or TKO or 1 loss by sub. You know, like most of his losses are by decision. You know, I was gonna go with Downing to win this one, but he is on a losing streak. Emerson has shown some solid takedown defense in the past. Might be able to beat Downing up on the feet. Man, this one's actually really hard for me to call. You know, I was gonna go with Downing, but like I kind of know what his game is. He's always pushing forward, trying to get the takedown, kind of push you against the fence. Striking is just kind of alright. It's average. You know what? I was gonna go with Downing. I think I'll go with Emerson. I think he can defend takedowns and beat him up on the feet. The next fight after that, Rod Montoya fights Paul Sass. Montoya fights at Duneland Valley Tudo. Guys like Darren Elkins and Eddie Wineland train there. He has a 15-15 record. I mean, he's a .500 fighter. 6 wins by KO or TKO, 7 wins by sub, 3 losses by KO or TKO. The alarming thing is he has 10 losses by sub against Paul Sass. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. Paul Sass, 13-2 record, 12 wins by sub, 1 win by decision. He's 25 years old. He's on a 2-fight losing streak to good guys, Matt Wyman and Danny Castillo. Trains at a Team Calvon. I think Adam trains there, if I'm not mistaken, and like Andy Ogle, I think trains there. He's a UFC veteran, strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, really strong triangle chokes. He actually has good leg locks, and just overall good off his back. If he feels like it, he'll pull guard. That's usually his game. A lot of people know his game. It takes certain guys, higher level guys, to be able to do something about it. Montoya, 10 losses by sub against a guy who has 12 wins by sub. I gotta go with Paul Sass to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, Derek Lawfer fights Cliff Wright. Cliff Wright, 7-5 record, all 7 wins by sub. He is on a 2-fight losing streak, training at a Hard Drive MMA with guys like Jared Downing. Yeah, good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu actually. Derek Lawfer, 4-1 record. 3 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub. He has a 1 loss by TKO, so he's never been to decision. He's also never been past the first round. He is on a 2-fight win streak. I'll go Derek Lawfer to win this one. And finally, Mike Estes fights Cole Williams. This one's actually hard for me to call because Cole Williams, 6-1 record, 1 win by TKO, 3 wins by sub, on a 4-fight win streak. Estes, though, undefeated. 5-0 record, all 5 wins by submission, and he's never been past the second round. I go with Mike Estes to win this one. So that's it for my predictions for Bellator 104. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys.